Welcome back to another episode of Business Beyond the Game. My name is Eric Jackson, and we have a special guest with us today, DC United President of Business Operations, Danita Johnson. Danita, how are you?
I'm great, Eric. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And Danita, you've been busy. You guys have rapper Yo Gotti on the cap table and former Heisman Trophy, Mark Ingram, and other MLS teams are sort of taking on celebrity limited partners. Like, how much is just blending sports and entertainment, Danita, just help in a business sense?
Yeah, I mean, sports and entertainment go hand in hand, as many of us know. When we look at, other major leagues and other sports across the United States and across the world, entertainment, I think, as I sometimes joke, entertainers usually want to be athletes and athletes want to be entertainers, right? So there's a synergy that naturally happens there. But I think the opportunity to elevate and come in at a business table and come in and sit differently within that and really bring their entertainment experience to how we look at our business is one that really helps to elevate us. It gives uniqueness to our business, and it actually makes us more well-rounded. And so having them at the table and part of the partnership with us really does help to elevate us as an organization.
No, I love that. The well-rounded, right? Like everybody offering their piece, right, and their
Exactly.
expertise. I think that's like really cool. And you're from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yes.
I believe J. Cole is too. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's where you get Dreamville.
Charlotte Hornets limited partner J. Cole now. Like for you, Danita, like how did your upbringing just there just shape you into the person and exec you are
Yeah.
today?
I think for me, the best part of growing up in Fayetteville and Fort Bragg, my dad served over 20 plus years in the military.
Mm,
And in doing that, we moved around from time to time. So as I've moved around in my career, I definitely know how to do that based upon those experiences from my childhood and how to adapt. But one of my favorite parts about growing up there was the variety of people. Because we lived near the Army base. At one point, we actually lived on base. Just the different walks of life and the variety of people that came there really helped you understand diversity and like culture from different
yeah.
places and how that can integrate into life, into work, into sport. And so, growing up there really helped to build a foundation for me of seeing the world through a different lens at a very young age.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you've made your stops all the way now to DC United. You became the first black president of MLS club, 3 years ago. Like, what in your mind, Danita, just can be done to just get more diversity in leadership positions just across the league and just
Yeah.
taking on that.
Our hiring practices from beginning to end at every level matter, right? We have to create opportunities, whether it's that entry level role, whether it's that sponsorship sales role, whether it's a director or VP. We have to be willing to go in and find diverse candidates and change our hiring practices and how we look at that. I think one of the things when I came into DC United, when we started looking at resumes and trying to build our team, it wasn't just about like race, it was also about experiences and looking at them in a new lens and understanding that, everybody didn't need a direct path to get here. And so their paths may look different, and we need to embrace that and use that as leverage for us as a business and also help them grow in their own careers.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. I mean, as the landscape is evolving so much, do you think it's more imperative now to maybe take people who didn't have a traditional route and maybe maybe from different industries or what have you? I'm curious your thoughts on just.
Absolutely. I think it's so important. I think where we have to do it, our responsibility on the other side is if we're bringing somebody in from a non traditional route, our onboarding may have to look different than our traditional onboarding, right? So, how are we preparing them for success within the role? And so, when I bring in somebody that maybe traditionally wasn't in sport, the time I spend with them is different than somebody that's coming straight from industry and how I bring them on board because how they worked every day might look different, but their skills transition really well into the work that we need done.
Yeah, I know for you, and just how did your experience just coming up in the NBA, WNBA, like prepare you for Major League Soccer?
I think, a lot of times when people say you look at the NBA and the I mean, it's like the blueprint, right? From Teambo to the innovation to the players and their own the things that players do themselves, the integration on social platforms, their voices, how they stand up for different things. I think they really represent in a very authentic way. And so for us, it's like finding what's authentic to Major League Soccer, what's authentic to our players, and how do we push that forward in the right way possible. So I really want to make sure that I look at those leagues, such as the NBA and WNBA, and kind of use them as a guide, but make it work for what works for Major League Soccer and for the culture of this game.
Yeah, do you find any of the leagues to be sort of similar? Maybe WNBA, younger leagues, taking momentum, and how do you kind of just feel about the similarities and differences.
Yeah, I think about Major League Soccer and the fact we're about 28 years young, right?
Right.
And we think about the NBA, I think they're at 76, somewhere right in there. And so when we think about the progress over the years and the transition of those leagues, I think about us in that same format. I'm always thinking about actual time versus perceived time, and how that actually impacts our business and how we move forward. So I think about like for the Major League Soccer and a comparative like the NBA,
Right.
it's like we're still in like that mid range, right? Still a little bit in infancy as our league is progressing. Like our deal with Apple is a huge piece for us. We're now seeing in countries around the world, you can access us. We've become a destination sport by being able to play on Saturday and Wednesdays, right? So it's now
Right. Right.
changing our game. The Messi effect, right? You see that coming around the corner. Even though there was always greatness within our league, there are things that are right now happening that are transitioning as fast where we have to be prepared. And I think what we're doing as a league and as a club is taking from what the NBA and others have done and being set up positively to handle it, right? So, what's
Yeah.
the innovation? How are we planning? How are we structuring things to move everything forward? Being prepared in that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Messi's obviously been a big topic, in recent weeks. For you guys, obviously, Inter's taking advantage of, Miami's taking advantage of the moment. But how do other clubs, including United, you think, can leverage this situation and, take advantage?
Yeah, I think, we're in a unique position because, most of the East Coast teams play Miami throughout the
Right,
year.
right.
I think for us, it's about continuing to elevate in those moments, right? Access to those matches when he does come to market. How are we also continuing to elevate our play on the pitch? Storytelling around our players as well. I think there's a combination of great stories that come together with it that we want to make sure that we're in good position to kind of share our story along with it. Obviously, as you know, for many of the clubs, when this all came about, we were all able to maximize revenue opportunities from a ticket sales perspective. And for clubs and organization, that does help everybody's bottom line. Then we can't be oblivious to that. So it helps us, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do we kind of set up that success next year, right? Where do we go with it?
Right. And you were at the Sparks, correct, for a bit. And there's just another relevant thing in the news right now is the Commander sale, and I don't think a lot of people realize that the Commanders have a slight tie to the Sparks through
They
Magic,
do.
right, and managing partner Eric Holloman, like in the ownership group. Like, what do you think just those two contribute? And obviously Magic has a history of ownership. I'm just curious your thoughts
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
that
Listen, I'm
connection.
so excited for them. I feel like this is something they've wanted for a really long time. They're a great group that continues to add value to sports at multiple levels. And we won't ever go past the fact that these are African American men that are leading the charge in this way and what that
Right.
does for sport. I think it is remarkable. I think it's inspirational and something that many of us aspire to be owners or really having that next level seat at the table. And so it's exciting to see, and I look forward to seeing success for them.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. And just for you, Danita, just what's just of your career because you've bounced different leagues and everything else, and I'm so happy to have you on here. And I think I just want to ask you, what's kind of the best business advice you've just gotten for your career that maybe someone could appreciate. You would say.
I think, I think there's a couple of things. It's not just one, but I'll give you like maybe like two or three. Let's see. I can
Yeah,
kind of keep it
give us
brief.
them all. Give us them
Yeah,
all.
I'll keep it as brief as possible. But I think one of those is that you always have to be innovating, right? Like there's foundational, basic, fundamental things about this business you never want to leave behind, right? So you need to understand the fundamentals, and they're key for success. But innovation drives change. And so the ability to innovate, the ability to try things differently and push forward can really change the landscape of the business. The other thing is like what we like to do, and I do this a lot with my team internally, is like whenever a deal comes across our table, we love to look at it from all different angles, right? What if we were on the other side of the table? What if we're the consumer? What if we're in our own position, right? So how
Yeah.
are we doing that? How are we making sure that we're looking at things from every angle possible to make the best deal possible? And so that's one of the things that I think has become a really big practice for us, and something that I always try to like, even down to like our sales reps, like what is the customer on the other end thinking, the prospect, right? How are you thinking in their shoes? So I think, having perspective really matters when it comes to business.
Right, right. Not just thinking about how good it is for our end, right, our profits or everything else, right. Kind of flipping the script, right. I see what you're saying. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Danita, I appreciate your time as always. It's great to connect with you, and There,
Absolutely.
there you have it, folks. Danita Johnson, President of Business Operation. Thank you.
Thank you.